Lies, lies, and more lies. Is it any wonder that people don't know what to believe anymore? I mean, we're told one thing and then another. Our TVs, smartphones, and computers are flooded with misinformation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and much of it is being pushed by those that claim to be fighting against misinformation, which, by the way, has turned out to be just another lie. It is remarkable how many people will sit there and ignore what they see and what they hear for themselves and subscribe instead to a narrative, to a point of view, to a worldview that has no relationship to reality or even common sense. When did so many people forfeit their own ability to decipher what is going on around them and insert instead a nonsensical narrative just because they so desperately want to believe one political perspective over all others? I'm serious here. How many people do you know that will willingly surrender their own minds and allow someone else to direct their opinions just so they can continue on the same path and reinforce whatever worldview they hold? Cognitive dissonance is alive and well. In fact, it's thriving in the world today, and anyone who dares upset the equilibrium of either side is opening themselves up to ridicule, slander, and open hostility of every kind. And this is true of people on the left, on the right, and sometimes those that are otherwise unaffiliated. And what are these political hacks, activists, and operatives willing to lie about? To you, to me, and everyone else? Well, in a word, everything. The biggest producer of lies on an industrial scale, of course, was the entire COVID pandemic. It soon became the world championships of lying and propaganda. There were many people, like the CDC, the World Health Organization, news outlets, and our own government. But worse, it was all led by its master of ceremonies, Anthony Fauci. Dr. Robert Redfield says Anthony Fauci and his minions were in a league of their own altogether to crush any dissent, and says that was just pushing a fallacy not based on science at all. Listen to this.
Now, why do you think you were excluded from those calls?
Because it was told to me that they wanted a single narrative and that I obviously had a different point of view.
Okay. In emails following the conference call, 4 of the 11 scientists told Fauci that they all found the genetic sequence inconsistent with expectations from evolutionary theory, basically what you're saying. However, just 3 days later, these 4 scientists had drafted a paper arguing the exact opposite, and that's now the infamous proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2. Our investigations show that this paper was prompted by Dr. Fauci, among others, with a goal to disprove the lab leak theory. What is the likelihood that these scientists came across additional information just 3 days after making these statements to conclude with such certainty that COVID-19 came from nature instead of the lab leak that they thought it was 3 days earlier?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. Again, I've said this before, that this whole approach that was taken on February 1st, and subsequently in the month of February, if you really want to be truthful, it's antithetical to science.
Thank you.
Science has debate, and they squashed any debate.
Antithetical to science. It was a lie. Now, just like the new January 6th footage, we pretty much knew this already. Fauci seems to have known about the strong possibility of a lab leak, but decided the public, they didn't need to know.